So, you know Paizo? Yeah, these guys, the guys who make really good games, 2 days ago, they posted this. That's right, in War of Immortals, 3 Pathfinder 1st Edition classes are coming to Pathfinder 2nd Edition as class archetypes. Yes, much to the dismay of some classic Pathfinder enthusiasts, the Avenger, Blood Rager, and Vindicator, formerly known as the Inquisitor, are being returned to Pathfinder 2nd Edition, but not as full standalone classes. I think some people are going to be really upset at first, but it really makes sense when you actually think about the context of the system. In Pathfinder 2e, everything's already so customizable that to make something like a Blood Rager is already pretty easy to do just with a base Barbarian or Bard as the concrete foundation to build upon. So adding it as its own standalone class would be really redundant in a lot of ways. However, adding them as class archetypes is a brilliant way to handle them. Before we go further into this video, it is really important that you understand how class archetypes work, as they're not very common at all in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. But they have always been a feature. All the way back in the core rulebook when the game first came out, they mentioned the existence of class archetypes. The way these work is they alter your class right from level 1, but they... Really, police? I'm not even doing anything wrong this time. The way these work is that they alter or augment your base class right at level 1 in exchange for stealing your level 2 feat. This has always been a little bit clunky and people aren't the biggest fan of how it works, but effectively you don't get a level 2 feat, but in exchange you get to play an altered level 1 class, usually with a little bit of a power boost at first level. There are very few examples of these in the game right now, but the most obvious is the Elementalist, Wizard, and Druid. These are both class archetypes you can take that augment the class by removing some features and adding new ones. There's always been a lot of room for this to grow, and people have homebrewed and played around with these for a while. Hell, even I made my own Wild Singer Bard a long time ago, which should still be on the Patreon if you're ever interested and you're pledged there already. Which, by the way, shout out to all the members of the No Net One's Patreon for helping support me in what I do. I appreciate you all so much. Ding. Add a ding sound effect. But that's the basics of class archetypes. You take them at first level, they give you a boost and augment your class, but you don't get a second level class feat. With that out of the way, let's dive into exactly how these 3 new class archetypes are going to work. Starting off with the Avenger, who is technically not the same name as the original Pathfinder 1e class. The 1st edition class was called the Slayer, and that is now being turned into a rogue class archetype known as the Avenger. Avengers are specifically rogues designed to meddle in deific affairs. Like, you are a rogue who is using their roguish abilities to get involved with the gods. This is already super interesting in that you have to pick a deity as an Avenger, and this is going to change your starting skills as well as force you to choose the specific Avenger rogue racket. But the biggest change here is that the Avenger loses the surprise attack rogue feature. So no longer will the Avenger be attacking targets that are off guard if they go before them in initiative. No, instead, the Avenger gets the Ranger's Hunt Prey ability. They don't go into detail here, but I'm going to guess that the Avenger automatically sneak attacks their hunted prey rather than needing them to be off guard. There's no way that the hunted prey will always be off guard against the Avenger's attacks, right? No, I assume it's going to be as simple as if you attack your hunted prey, add your sneak attack bonus damage. Additionally, and this is where some of them might get insane, you can sneak attack with your deity's favored weapon. So if there's a deity out there, I don't know the deities off the top of my head with their favorite weapons, but if there's one out there with a D10 or God forbid a D12 weapon, you can sneak attack with it. I'm assuming this gets past the agile finesse requirements of sneak attack, which sounds like so much fun, similar to how the ruffian can sneak attack with any simple weapon, even if it's not agile finesse. The last thing it says is that Avengers are esteemed combatants in taking down opposing deities' priests. I don't know if they're gonna have some anti-divine synergy built right into this archetype. I imagine so. Maybe bonuses to saving throws against divine tradition spells, or bonus damage against divine spellcasters, similar to like the Superstition Barbarian. There's a lot to play with here. I'm really excited to see it, and I think they did a really good job of taking the Slayer from 1st edition, who got their unique sneak attacks on targets, and put it onto the Rogue. You know, the Slayer was able to mark their targets to deal bonus damage to them. I think giving them Hunt Prey and then probably altering the Rogue Sneak attack to synergize with Hunt Prey is a great way to bring the Slayer to 2nd edition. Next up, we have the Blood Rager, which for the last 10 years of my life, I've gotten confused with Scald every single time they come up. Blood Rager is Barbarian Sorcerer, Scald is Barbarian Bard. Maybe I'm just weird, I hope I'm not the only person who gets those confused for some reason. So back in 1st edition, the Blood Rager was exactly that. It was a Barbarian with the ability to cast some spells. It didn't have the spell casting capabilities of the Sorcerer, and it didn't get all of the bonus features of the Barbarian, but it did get both. So they're already saying right here in the 2nd sentence that they are reimagining the Blood Rager to better fit into the Pathfinder world as it is today. So it looks like we're going to get less of a half Barbarian, half Sorcerer, and a bit more of a base Barbarian with some additional features, because this is specifically a Barbarian class archetype, not a Sorcerer class archetype. Right away, the Blood Rager seems super cool. Obviously, you have to take the Blood Rager instinct to use this class archetype as a Barbarian, but not only do they get access to spellcasting, but while blood raging, which is different than raging apparently, not only do your attacks now inflict persistent damage, but all the bonus damage you get from rage applies to your spell attack rolls as well. All spells cast by the Blood Rager gain the Rage trait, which if you're not aware, anyone raging cannot use any concentrate actions unless they have the Rage trait. So since all spells have the Rage trait, you can now just cast any spells you know. Additionally, they're getting a totally new action called Harvest Blood, that when used is going to give them bonuses to their saving throws and refresh Rage's temporary hit points against the target who they harvested blood from. They're putting a lot of emphasis on the blood aspect of the Blood Rager, which I like a lot. And it sounds like rather than playing off of the bloodline aspect of the Sorcerer, the Blood Rager is actually playing off of the blood of their targets, not their own. So apparently they get feats later on like Spell Drinker, where when they use Harvest Blood to harvest blood from their target, it's going to give them a temporary spell slot they can use to cast a spell based on the target's blood they drank. The example they give is that harvesting the blood of a Fey enemy could grant Wall of Thorns to be cast. That's really, really cool. We'll see how powerful it is in its actual design, because up front, unless you're fighting multiple types of enemies in one encounter, that doesn't sound super useful. You know, oh, you're fighting a fire elemental, you harvest blood and you get Fireball. When would you ever use that on a fire elemental? But if you're fighting multiple elementals and you get, you know, hydraulic push from the water elemental and you can cast that on the fire elemental, that's obviously a lot better. I'm really curious to see this. This one's going through a total transformation from what it was in PF1. We are not getting the Blood Rager again, we are getting a totally new take on the same concept. Very exciting. And finally, we are getting the Vindicator, which is a divine archetype designed for the Ranger class. Now, this used to be known as the Inquisitor, but Paizo has stepped away from that for the sake of obviously negative connotations in history, and let me tell you, it has been hilarious to see so many grognards getting mad that they're changing the name of the class. Because, you know, that name matters so much. So right away, this archetype seems to turn the Ranger into almost a champion in some ways. You become trained in religion instead of nature, you get trained proficiency in your deity's favored weapon, and you get deadly simplicity, upgrading that favored weapon if it's a simple weapon. This is also technically the first time we are ever going to get a new Hunter's Edge, as Vindicators get the Vindication Hunter's Edge. No longer are you just stuck to flurry, precision, and outwit, but you can actually choose a new one, but only if you take the class archetype. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell us what the Vindication Edge does, but we can only assume that it interacts with your deities like Most Hated Enemies, maybe, or I have no idea. I have tried designing a Hunter's Edge in the past. It's not easy. It seems like a really, really tightly knit design that adding more to it is not easy to do. So I'll be really curious to see how they handle Vindication. They mentioned that Vindicators are going to be sanctified, just like champions and clerics, and things like Trackless Journey are going to be changed to better fit the divine nature of the Vindicator. This is one of the biggest class archetype changes we've ever seen. It's changing like a solid chunk of the Ranger's base class identity, and that's what we want out of a class archetype. I have no doubt that the Blood Rager and the Avenger are going to be doing something similar and just changing a lot more than it sounds, but up front, the Vindicator sounds like it's changing the most. We do know that the Vindicator is getting 2 new Warden spells, which are actually cast as divine spells by the Vindicator, and we are getting Vindicator's Mark and Vindicator's Judgment. I don't know if Vindicator's Mark is going to be their version of Hunt Prey. Maybe it's going to be a focus cantrip that has its own unique effects aside from Hunt Prey, but Vindicator's Judgment, if I had to guess, is going to be maybe like a 2-action focus spell to like super power attack somebody with a focus point, which would be rad if it was just this super powerful melee attack as a focus spell. That is what I'm hoping for. And it even says they're going to get some feat support to aid their allies with abilities like sharing their sanctification, which again, we've seen that in the champion feats where you can basically imbue your allies' strikes with holy or unholy depending on your own personal sanctification. This looks so cool, and I cannot wait to read them on stream, probably with you guys, as well as making videos about them. Which, by the way, speaking of streaming, if you missed it, last week we did go over the Tian Sha character guide. It was a ton of fun. We still haven't even gotten through all of it, so I might do another stream of it next week, but while I'm here, I might as well advertise for myself. If you are interested in No Nat 1's live streams, I have been live streaming over on Twitch 5 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Almost all of those are at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It has been a blast. I'm having so much fun with the people over there. Look at this. Look how much fun we're having. No, that's poison! No, that's poison! Wait. I'm dead. Oh. So if you want to come over and be part of the community we're building over on Twitch, I'll leave a link at the top of the description of this video. It would be a blast to have you over there, and soon next week I will be doing a live stream of the rest of the Tian Sha character guide. I don't have it scheduled yet. Things are a little bit up in the air with my daily schedules right now, so scheduling things like that is a little bit difficult, but I will be releasing a video later this week which will have the official date of the Tian Sha stream. So look forward to that, or if you want to see more, I am probably live on Twitch Nope, not right now because it's Wednesday. It sure is not Friday. I'll be live on Friday, though, so check me out on Friday. That's the end of the ad spot. So along with those 3 class archetypes, we are getting more, but they are hiding it from us and teasing us just those little snacks at a time as we build up to War of Immortals releasing in October. So that's all from me. Thank you so much again to all the members of the No Nat 1's Patreon for helping me do what I do. If you would like to also pledge to the No Nat 1's Patreon, there is a link in the description, as well as a few slots open in the $250 tier, which gets me to run a full 5-hour one-shot for you and up to 4 friends. Just to make this very clear, because people do seem to misunderstand it a bit, that one $250 tier buys the game for 5 people. Each slot of that tier is a full one-shot. You're not buying a single seat, you're buying 5 seats for you and up to 4 friends to be playing in a one-shot, GM'd by me, completely scheduled and tailored to your experiences. If that sounds like something you're interested in, feel free to pledge to that. I am looking forward to the 2 I have ready to set up already. That is it for me. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, No Nat 1s.